Alright, hey Chris, once again, welcome to my second vlog. So for this vlog, I will be reflecting on the Roger Olson reading. I will also be talking about my response to our class discussion this week, and then a couple of more things as to what kind of person I am to be drawn to the reactions I've had. So to start with the Roger Olson reading, I like how he discussed what the blueprint model is, being that around the world, especially evangelical Christians, believe that the blueprint model of God's will is real. Also meaning that God has a specific plan for our lives, and as detailed as it might be for, or as a blueprint would be. Many people mistake that and take that out of context, mainly from the verse in the Bible, Jeremiah 29:11, where God says to the remnant of Israel, not taken into exile, quote, "I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." So folk religion and many people take that verse out of context and apply it directly, uncritically, without examination of its true meaning to every individual Christian's life. But first, the prophecy is for Israel in that time and place. It can't be applied to every believer everywhere at all times. So in fact, there is no place in scripture that indicates that God has an individual blueprint for each believer's life. If he did, let's say, God has a blueprint for my life. He has every single thing listed, every single big moment in my life, when, what time, with who, throughout my life, and what's going to happen. And when it does happen, if something good or bad happens to me, it was for a reason, that reason being God's plan, the blueprint he has for my life. If that were the case, then I don't understand how the concept of free will applies. If we have free will, which God gives us in a way, then how can he plan every single thing to happen in our life if we're not able to choose and have the freedom to choose which path you want to go down, what, direction you want to take in your life, and what kind of people you want in your life or things you want to be a part of? It would just not be possible. So for my response to our discussion, what I found most meaningful to me about Ryan's teaching was how to humble yourself before your neighbors and others, removing our pride and the walls we built between us and those around us. If we do that, then it can create many relationships that you thought you would never have. Because for me, I think that people are very busy and distracted with their own lives and are only worrying about themselves rather than others, and seeing if, their friends or neighbors are in need of something. This made me feel like I'm probably not the only one that feels like I don't need to know the people that live right next to me or become very close friends with them, considering I'm an introvert. But if I do learn to be more humble and kind and learn to tackle the distance and the walls between me and others, then I can make more friends. And for instance, the cup of sugar example Ryan gave in his podcast had some very good points towards the end, being that you can rely on your neighbors and they can rely on you for certain things, like going over, asking for sugar, and knowing that if I can help someone who's in need, then they'll help me for something I need. And that way, being a good neighbor to those around you can glorify God and bring joy in many relationships. So, a couple things as to why I reacted the way I did to the readings and the podcast. I feel like to the reading, I talked a little bit about that, but mainly for my discussion, I feel like for me, it's hard sometimes with being an introvert to create and step out of these walls of comfort to protect myself from getting hurt or being vulnerable before others, because I've showed many people in my life that, you know, I've gone the extra distance for, or I cared a lot about, and in return they just stab me in the back or done me wrong, and then the walls become thicker and thicker and higher to keep me away from other people and keeping them away from who I really am and keeping me from caring about them. So I guess for me, I want to work on breaking those walls down and being more vulnerable to people so that they're comfortable with feeling like they can be my friend instead of putting a big front and scaring them away, and just practicing to be more humble and kind to others. And that's it. Thanks.